Brian Butler, a man who served as a valet for Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago for 2 decades, 20 years, this guy worked at Mar-a-Lago. Mr. Butler was mentioned in the indictments against Donald Trump as Trump employee number 5, and he has now come public with his story about how Donald Trump and, of course, Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira hid documents from the federal government. In an exclusive interview with CNN that they published this week, here is what Mr. Butler had to say. This is from CNN. Butler told CNN how he unknowingly helped Nauta deliver boxes of classified information from Mar-a-Lago to the former president's plane in June of 2022. The same day that Trump and his attorneys were meeting with the Justice Department at Mar-a-Lago about the classified documents. That day, June 3rd, 2022, Butler received what he remembers as a strange request from Nauta, who wanted to know if he could borrow an Escalade from the car service Butler ran for Mar-a-Lago. Trump and his family were about to fly to New Jersey that day for the summer, and it was typically Butler and his valets who handled getting their luggage onto the plane, not, of course, Walt Nauta. But it was an unusual request from Nauta for the car, Butler says, because Nauta typically didn't handle moving luggage and asked Butler for the car in a guarded way. Butler says Nauta and de Oliveira loaded up the vehicle before driving it to the West Palm Beach airport. Butler arrived with his own car filled with Trump family luggage, then helped Nauta load Trump's plane with the luggage, as well as bankers' boxes of documents that were in the Escalade. Butler says he didn't realize the bankers' boxes contained anything out of the ordinary. But of course, it actually contained the classified documents that Donald Trump was trying to hide from the Department of Justice, who he was meeting with while he had his little minions sneak out the back door and move the documents. That's not even the most mind-blowing thing that Mr. Butler had to say. Now, before I get into the big part of it, let's examine what I just read to you there. Okay, so you have Butler, who of course has spoken with the prosecutors. He is a witness against Donald Trump. He will be called to the stand and he will tell his story there. He's just also decided to come public with it. Now, having said that, what Butler's telling us is that yes, Donald Trump engaged in obstruction. There was a conspiracy to hide these documents. They obviously knew that they were legally not allowed to have these documents. So right then and there, based on Butler's testimony, assuming everything he is saying is true, you've got Donald Trump on almost all the charges so far. Like, that is guilty, if you ask me. If it were in front of a fair judge, Judge Cannon obviously does not fit that bill, we would have already had the trial. Trump would have already been convicted. I mean, there's too much evidence. Like, it is overwhelming at this point that he did this and engaged in the cover-up and the obstruction. But what about those other charges, right? You know, sharing classified information. Those are the big ones. Can Butler provide any information to suggest that Donald Trump shared classified information with other people? Yes, he can. At one point in his interviews, Butler says he told investigators that Australian billionaire Anthony Pratt repeated classified submarine secrets following a conversation with Trump in spring of 2021. Pratt met with Trump and heard from the former president about U.S. and Russian submarines at their meeting, then relayed that information to his chief of staff while in the backseat of Butler's car. Butler later told investigators he was shocked that Trump would share such information with a foreign citizen who paid excessive sums for access to Mar-a-Lago. Case closed. Again, if this were in front of any other judge in the country, Trump would have already been on trial and he would have been convicted on every single charge. But because it's in front of Judge Cannon, she's going to do everything she can to protect Donald Trump. And this is insane because this evidence is overwhelming. The witnesses are overwhelming. The videotapes are overwhelming. The fact that Trump has literally admitted to all of it. Like, there is no case here anymore. He is guilty as hell. And it blows my mind that to this moment, Jack Smith has not asked for a different judge on this case based on Judge Cannon's complete incompetence and favoritism of Donald Trump. This is an open and shut case. You don't even need a special prosecutor for this. You could take somebody who literally just grabbed their law school diploma and they could win this case. That is how easy it is. But Judge Cannon, as I said, is going to keep protecting Donald Trump.